In this video, I'm going to talk about 10 things I've learned about life. I'm 33 years old. I was an athlete, an entrepreneur, a creator, a researcher. I lived in Iceland, I have lived in the US for 3 years. And I've gotten a lot of realization by studying the good life and what makes life worth living. And based on these, I've had many realizations on the way. And I wish I could talk about 100 things or 200 things, but you have to start somewhere. So let's just dive into it. The first thing I learned is tell the truth like your life depends on it, because it does. Stop lying. Don't lie. Lying only makes things work. And I know we're human beings and we lie, but if you tell the truth, both firstly to yourself, if you're brutally honest with yourself, you're going to be the most authentic version of yourself. If you tell the truth about what you like, what you don't like, what you want to spend your precious time in, and you articulate that, you become more closer to your own reality. And if you lie to yourself by playing a game that you don't want to play, and that you lie to yourself only to benefit other people, you're playing a game that is not authentic to you, then it's firstly going to be really hard to keep up that game, and you're also playing a game that you don't want to play because you've been lying to yourself. And telling the truth to others as well is that, if you don't tell the truth to others or how you're expressing yourself, you're living a life that is a lie. And there's nothing more worse that you can do with your life, because then you, as I said, you're not playing your game. If you tell your truth to other people, they will exactly know where you're at, you will know where you're at, and you don't have to remember things because you lied, and you can be truly authentic in how you speak and how you behave, because it reflects your truth, the highest being that you can be. And if you betray that, you're playing a game that will be hard for you to play, and you will be in a lot of trouble because you have to remember a lot of things, and you have to remember what you said, and remember it causes you way more confusion and discomfort in the long term, although lying can be beneficial in the short term. But like, if you lie also and you get something accomplished, or you're trying to say something just to suit other people's needs, and all of that, you're betraying your soul. I mean, you betray your soul, it's nothing as inauthentic as that. But if you tell the truth, you will understand a lot about yourself, and telling the truth sets you on this adventure of authenticity, but difficulty, that will make your life way more meaningful. Let's take an example with relationships. Should I lie in relationships when I'm talking about something with somebody? And you might say lying in the moment is good because telling the truth is uncomfortable, and then you're like, okay, then you have to lie and lie and lie and lie, and then these relationships will be built on falsehood. If you tell the truth, which is meaningful in the moment, you're taking a risk, but also you're revealing where you're supposed to go in your life, and you will be secure within yourself because you follow the truth, you said the truth. And then when shit hits the fan in your life, which is going to do, you can rely on the truth because you've been truthful to yourself. But if the shit hits the fan, you've been lying to yourself and lying to other people, it will be a catastrophe. It will be really difficult for your life. So tell the truth. Although it's difficult, tell your truth to yourself and other people, because that will put you on an adventure that you couldn't see before, and that's the most meaningful thing you can do. And then you think like, what if I don't know the answer, or what? And then you can't really do mistakes if you think about it. If you tell the truth, you can't do mistakes, because if you're aligned with the truth and you're committed to the truth, the best thing you can say or do at each moment is the truth that you have on that moment. And then you can think back of like, I should have said this, I should have done this, and that might be the case, but you did the absolute best with what you had because you're living in alignment with truth. Then what you said wasn't a mistake, it was the best thing you could do at that particular moment. So just tell the truth, sets you up for all kinds of good stuff in your life. The second thing I've learned is, if you want to become a master, you first have to have the humility to be a beginner. It's with everything in life. You have to start somewhere. How unrealistic is that you think you're going to be really good at something before you start? Like, oh, I want to start a podcast. No, I have to be able to know how to take interviews. I have to have the right camera setting. I have to have access to the right people. I have to market it properly. I have to have the perfect setup. I have to have the perfect strategy behind it. Like, all of this stuff is just going to prevent you from being a beginner. For people who are starting, like for me, I'll take this example. I was thinking about doing YouTube videos for over 2 years, and I was always postponing it. I was like, I'm not fully articulated in English, so it won't be as good, I'll do it later. I don't have the right system, I don't have the right microphone or the camera. I'm filming this on my iPhone now, by the way. It's not the right time, it's just like I'm not at the time of starting that, so I was making all the rationalizations of not doing it and trying to be perfect before I started. Instead of what I decided to do a couple of months ago is just to put the phone up, have a topic and start talking about it. And I will look back on this video and the videos I did earlier after like 100 or 200 YouTube videos, and I would laugh at myself, but like, wow, you're such a beginner when you started that. But like, that is the prerequisite of becoming a master, because if I wouldn't be filming this now, I wouldn't be as good as I will be after 100 videos. But I have to start here, and I have to have the humility to be a beginner in a sense. So this is with everything in life. It's with, you want to do something creative, like posting on social media, starting a YouTube, starting a podcast. It could be you want to develop a new skill, like learn about AI, or you want to start to do coaching. I remember in coaching, like they just told us, like when we started studying and training in coaching cycle, they just asked, because all people were like hesitant of starting to coach when they just started to study coaching. And my teacher asked, like, can you listen? And everybody was like, yeah, I can listen. Yeah, then you can coach. Go out there, because he knew that the learning was in doing the coaching, but not having all of the questions figured out, having the approaches figured out, because you will learn so much on the way by doing that. So it's with everything. It's with, you want to go to the gym, or you want to start boxing, or you want to pick up a new activity. You just have to realize that, because you might be bad at it to begin with, but being bad at something to begin with is an absolute necessity to become a master one day. And this is in everything I've done. It's through writing my books. It's through podcasting that I had. It's through, I know that I've been taking boxing classes. I'm terrible at boxing, but I know I will be better when I put in the work and put in the skill. And it might be awkward. I might be thinking like, oh, teacher thinks I'm a loser, or all the people in the boxing session are way ahead of me, but like, that's all right. It's also humbling. Like, you're not as good as you were. So don't start with the process of being so narcissistic that you think you should be a champion before you start, because then you overanalyze stuff and then you don't begin the journey, which is the necessary thing to do to become a master. Third, how much rejection you're willing to endure will determine the success you will have in your life. One thing we know for sure in this life is that it's going to be full of rejections. You'll apply to 100 jobs, you'll get 99 no. You will talk to 100 women or men on the street to be your partner or your friend, and you'll get 99 rejections. You'll apply for 100 schools and you get 99 rejections. But that one school acceptance, that one job that you got, that one conversation that she became your future wife or your future business partner. You only need one yes. And you're going to be faced with rejection, and if you don't develop the resilience of being able to continue to do things without rejections, you're done for the most games of your life. When I started my career in Iceland, I had a podcast and I had a list of like 300 people. And I knew that only of these 300 people, like probably 100 people responded to me out of these 300 people that I emailed to come to me as a podcast guest. Maybe those who answered, maybe 50 of them was like no, but like maybe 50 of them was yes. And as I continued doing podcasting, I realized that all those yeses made my podcast into the most popular podcast in the world. When I applied to schools in America, I applied to 16 schools. I got 15 rejections. I got one yes, and just that one yes changed the trajectory of my whole life. I went from Iceland to America, and I'm doing all the things in America, in Los Angeles, and my life has become so much more adventurous and meaningful just because that one school said yes. But to be able to get that yes, you'll have to go through a couple of no's. But that doesn't mean that it's always a no. Or does it mean that you will always get no? Because if you just develop the skills and endurance to put in the effort to make an action, despite that you might get rejections, despite that you might get rejection, you will succeed at the business front when you're asking for investors or applying for a job. You will succeed if you're going to a school, applying to multiple schools. You will succeed when you're talking to people to become your friends or your partner. Because as I said earlier, You only need one yes, and that yes can change everything for you. So just keep on going, endure rejection, because that's going to be the key in success in your life. Number 4, life isn't about the destination. It's a little bit about the journey, but even more, it's about the company you keep along with the way. What I mean about that is, like, in terms of the destination, is that we've all been in the period of life when we wait for something big to happen. Until I finish the PhD, until I become a professional soccer player, until I get to a relationship, until I get this X amount of money in my life, until I go to the vacation, until I travel, all that, knowing that when we reach those milestones, we have so high expectation that life is going to be easy and good and comfortable and we'll be happy when we arrive to that point, which is not the case. We experience happiness in the moment, and maybe have a good couple of minutes or an hour, and then we're like, wait a minute, shouldn't I feel more happy? I worked for this for my whole life. And when you do that, you wait until you're not enjoying the journey of going and reaching to that milestone, and then when you reach that milestone, you will think about what is the next milestone. So you wait, you miss on things about the journey that makes life meaningful. You also wait until you can become happy on the way, maybe for a couple of years, knowing that the thing that makes the journey so exciting is the journey. It's not the destination. The destination is fantastic if you reach your goals and achieve your milestones, but all of the things leading up to that, that's life. That's your everyday life. And if you can't find joy or satisfaction or peace in that process, you will regret it. And because you will go through your life just waiting for the next milestone, the next milestone, the next milestone, when what the most meaningful thing in your life is the things that are happening every day. So try to find some enjoyment in the process. Enjoy mundane things you do every day. Find some meaning in them. Do the things you want to do. Don't be too hard on yourself. But then, I said, it's even more about company. And when you think about your life, you'll think about the experiences you had, but you'll think about the relationships at the end of your life. To your family, to your friends, to strangers. And those experiences are often most tied to people in your life. And who you travel with in this life is maybe more important than the journey or the destination, because high quality relationships are the most important thing for your happiness, health and well-being in your life. They make life way more meaningful. So be careful of picking the people who you want to travel with. Who you're going to be your partner is probably the most important decision you'll make. The friends that you're around you, I think it's true that you're the average of the 5 of the most people you hang out with. And if you neglect your family wholeheartedly because you're so busy in achieving things, you will also regret that. So nurture relationships. You can do both at the same time. Although we are achievement oriented, you can also nurture relationships, because at the end of your life, people won't remember how, accomplishment you achieved. They would rather remember how you made them feel, the experience you had with them, how much you energized them and you were a light in their world, your values, your character. And yeah, you will think about moments that you had with people when you have lost them in your life. So pick your squad carefully and remember to nurture your squad well, and because they could be gone in a second. If you don't appreciate them in this moment, you will regret it later on. 5, delaying gratification works. When you sacrifice present comfort, you create future freedom. If you want to be more successful in this life, the successful people in this life, they delay gratification. Meaning that instead of doing the thing in the present moment that's going to give you pleasure, they delay that to do something meaningful and purposeful that will create more freedom, peace, and success in the future. So this might be something like, instead of me being in the phone, I'm working. I want to be in the phone because I got a lot of notification, I need to answer people, but like working is going to help to contribute to future me. It might be, I'm going to either wake up or snooze in the morning. Snoozing sounds fantastic. I can sleep a little bit longer and I'm so tired, but waking up, you will wake up and you'll achieve greater success because you've done more shit because you woke up. Same with choosing, like, should I be in my phone when I'm with my people, or should I attend to them and talk to them? The phone, I want to be in the phone, but if I attend to them and talk to them, that's gonna create a stronger relationship between us. And also in terms of food, I like this hamburger now. I want deeply to get a burger and french fries, but I don't like this steak or salad there, like, in the present moment. But I know that future me, after 3 hours or tomorrow or a week after me, would wish I would choose the more difficult thing in the moment, which is the steak or the salad, because it's contributing to the future you. And what happens, it works, because after some period of time when you have to begin to force with these changes or forcing or making decisions in the moment, which you don't want to do, like sleeping instead of going partying and all the examples I made earlier, you start to make a link between your sacrifices and your success in life. So when I was playing soccer, I got this link, and I think that's the reason why I'm like kinda programmed to delay gratification, is that when other guys finished the training and just went straight into the locker room and hit the hot tub, or were talking about life or whatever, bonding, I was still working, I was still doing additional exercises on the field, or I went into the gym, because I knew if I would make that sacrifice, I wanted nothing more than just relax after training. But I knew I would train a little bit more, I would become better, and then I would be the best player in the team. And that was exactly what happens. And when I made that link between everything I was doing in terms of who I was aiming to become, that if I sacrifice for that person is going to get realized. So that's the reason why I was the best player in the team. I became the champion. I played for the under 21 years national team and all of that. And the same has happened in terms of business, in terms of my personal branding. Like if I sacrifice for where I'm going with my personal branding in the future, like it's a Sunday. I'm recording this and this is a Sunday. I could be out in the sun. I could be chilling with friends. I could be watching TV. I could be doing so much more that would be more convenient for me now. But what I'm choosing to do is to record this video because I know it will contribute to 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years baggy. So I would ask myself, I'll be aware in the moment and ask myself when you're making a decision, what decision would future me like me to do now in this present moment? Tomorrow me, a year from now me, etc. with all your small decisions in your life. And it's really good to have goals and a vision that you're striving towards, because it's really difficult to make decisions that if you don't know where you're going. That's another part. But I would just be aware, because you can always make two decisions in every moment. Are you going to do what's comfortable in the moment? You know, it's cozy, it's easy, it's comfortable, or are you going to do something that is difficult, that is hard, but meaningful, because it's going to create future freedom, abundance, and autonomy in your life? And if I were you, I would mostly choose the decision that is going to contribute to the future you, not the present you. Because that's being kind to yourself. And being kind is not just relaxing in a bubble bath. Being kind to yourself is putting in the action that leads to the best version of you in the future. One caveat, because it's been really hard for me to focus on the present moment and just do pleasurable things in my life. And I'm working on adding that into my life, but this is a blessing and a curse. But I would always choose that, because I wouldn't be here living the life I was living if I hadn't delayed gratification. 6, get out of your head as often as you can. Forget yourself by connecting to something greater than yourself. I'm an analyzer, and many people are analyzers. They're thinking about how they're being perceived, they're thinking about their lives, if they're doing the right thing. They are obsessing over things in their mind about maybe it's about past, so maybe it's about like ruminating about past, something that happened that is still affecting you in your life, that you made a decision, that you did a failure, and it just haunts you. Could be also fixating about the future, like I'm anxious because something is happening and I'm overthinking everything in terms of like something comes up and you're just spiraling down in your thoughts about the future and just stuck in your head, like how it's just, yeah, at least the more self-conscious you are, I'm gonna say that again, the more self-conscious you are, the more miserable you feel. Meaning that when you're stuck in your head and you're analyzing everything, every action you make, every decision you make, you're analyzing the past, you're analyzing the future, you're analyzing how other people are perceiving you, the worse you feel, because there's no difference between being self-conscious and being suffering in your life. And the reason is that because you're stuck in your brain. And when you're stuck in your thoughts, this identity or this story that you're telling about yourself, and you're stuck in it, you can't get fixed. You're thinking about all the problems in your life and what's wrong with you and what's lacking, and it's mostly negative. I know you can reflect like positively, but when we do it, it's most about what an idiot and asshole and worthless person we are. But the best thing you can do and do this regularly is to forget yourself in something else. So it could be experiencing a sense of flow when you're having a meaningful conversation with somebody. To go out of your head and into the person. Could be when you're attending nature. You just feel so peaceful because you feel like you know, as much as you feel when you're in your head that the world is on your shoulder, you feel like when you go into nature that you are so small, and you know, at the same time when everything seems to matter, it doesn't matter because we're such a small fraction of this universe. And you know, it can also be forgetting yourself in your mission. Like when I'm in flow, when I'm working on tasks, or when I'm writing, it's just about forgetting you and experience the sense of connection beyond yourself with nature, family, the divine, God, or whatever you want to call it spiritually. And your mission, or when you're working out, or when you're writing, drawing, painting, DJing, singing, these are the things that takes you out from your head and into the experience. And the more that you do that, the better you're going to feel. Of course, you're a human being, so you will have to think and you will think, but getting into the zone of not thinking and just being is really good for your mental health, spirituality, and for your joy in life, to be aware. And that's just the best place to be. So I would work as hardly as I could possibly to forget myself in other things. Yeah, that's a way to live life. You see how much I smile when I say that, because that's the state that feels so peaceful and good, and we should spend a lot of more time in that space, because I think 50% of the time we're thinking about the past or the future. I think about 50% of the time we are immersed in what we are doing. So, and the 50% time we're spending on future and the past is just painful, and you know, you don't have to be there, and so much of our worries and suffering is caused because we are in our own head. And when you're in your own head, you don't experience life, you don't experience the journey, you don't experience what you are doing, and you're not really there. So, but when you connect to something greater in yourself, you get a sense of perspective, peace, and well-being, because you realize this life is just beautiful and you're immersed in something that is meaningful to you. So I would definitely do that. 7, change is scary. Change is scary, but it's the only way to grow into the person you're meant to be. Change is so scary. So when you're deciding to change based on where you live, for example, when I moved to Iceland to LA, it was the most scariest decision I made in my whole life. And you know, all the worries about change is like, I had all this success, I'm living a life that is like, I've worked so hard to build, I have this social media following, I have these opportunities, I have economic security, I'm just going to change for that and just throw that all away and just not have extra economic security, not leave my career behind so nobody knows who I am in the United States, and all of that. But like, thinking about me on that moment is that the person I've changed to during the last 3 years is just, that's the reward of change. I've revealed who I truly am. I know fully my interest. I know what I like and what I don't like. I'm way more courageous. I'm way more resilient. I have way more wisdom and way more perspective, because this journey has taught me so much about myself. So I feel like I'm way closer to who I'm meant to be by making the change, instead of just thinking about, like, if I had not making this change, I denied the call to adventure, and I knew that I would be able to play a movie how my life was. I would be so miserable watching that movie if I wouldn't have said yes, if I would have stayed in stagnation and continue living my life in Iceland. So my point is that everybody fears change. So it could be external change in terms of who you're in a relationship with, what do you do for work, in your free time, etc. Where do you live? Could also be internal change, like you're not liking the same things as you liked before. You're not doing the right things that are truly interesting or passionate to you. Like when I was losing purpose and passion and meaning in soccer, that was scary. Like the thing I had devoted my whole life to, I just don't want to do it anymore. But like also stop playing that, put me on a trajectory that I would always do again. And if I was still playing soccer now, I might be okay, but the things I've experienced as a consequence that I allowed myself to change, it's just beyond articulations, beyond words. So instead of fearing change, and it's okay to fear change, but maybe you should look at it as a blessing, as an opportunity to become the person you're meant to become. And you're supposed to change, you're supposed to be mature. If you're still in Peter Pan land and you're 40 years old doing the same things you were 20 years old, like, what is that? Like, it's cool when you're 20, okay when you're 25, it's awkward when you're 30, and it's terrible when you're 40. Time to shape up, time to change, time to mature, time to fucking take some responsibility, time to do something meaningful with your life. And you're supposed to change, and other people say like, you've changed. Yeah, and you're supposed to change. If I won't change in the next 5 years and I'm still the person I am today, that will be complete failure on my behalf. I want to look at my life afterwards and reflect on my life and like, oh wow, I was this person a couple of years ago and now I'm this person. This person will know the person I am today. Because changing is an adventure to your, the adventure of your life. You're always changing the person you're meant to become, and you have to be courageous to change because that's the only way to find out who you truly are. And sometimes you have to let go of old identities, let go of old parts of yourself, allow them to die so all the parts can re-emerge for you. Just like what I did when I stopped playing soccer. I had to let that soccer boy die inside me so the psychologist could emerge. When I first was in the States and I was defining me as a coach and a researcher, and a coach and a podcaster and a public speaker, I had to let that die for a bit because so the researcher within me could emerge. So although it's really, really scary to change and stop doing the things that are not bringing you meaning or happiness and start to do things that are truly meaningful to you, that's an adventure. This is so exciting, and you will thank yourself. You will thank you for having the courage to change when most people are afraid of change and won't change. So if you're, for example, miserable at your job, the chances are that after 5 years you will be more miserable in your job if you keep this going. So maybe you shouldn't be afraid of, you should be more afraid of staying where you are if it's making you miserable than making the courage to make a decision to change. So that's going to be my last words for change. The energy that you give to the world is the energy that the world will give back to you. If you're constantly thinking about what's wrong with this person, judging other people, being cynical about what you're doing, attending only to what is negative happening into the world, that's going to be reflected to you. The more you have the presumption that the world is good, the better it gets. Meaning that if you attend more to the good things about yourself, the good things about other people, the good things about the world, the better it will get for you. Because if you have the belief that the world is good, and if you tend to positive things about other people, you're going to communicate that hopefully, and you're going to see the person through their quality aspects, and you're going to see the world through not only what is terrible happening in the world, but also the good. And meaning when you see that and you communicate that and you give that energy, people are going to give you that energy back, and the world is going to give you that energy back. So there was this quote by Dostoevsky, I think it was, you're not only responsible for your actions, but also how other people behave towards you. That's pretty rough. And if you just take the people, for example, if you attend more to give people benefit of the doubt, believe that the best intention was behind their behavior. You trust people. You're going to be more kinder to them. You're going to be more empathetic to them. You're going to notice their strengths more. You're going to compliment them and attend to them and energize those aspects of themselves, which in turn they are going to give the energy to you because you gave that energy to the world. And if you give that energy, people will line up getting that energy from you, will give you opportunities. People will talk about you, people want to spend time with you. You'll be more attentive to opportunities in your life because the life is magical, not logical, I would say, like Will Smith said. You will attend to the beauties of life that will put you on a path towards an opportunity, a positive up spiral when you make good very good. But if you're only thinking about threats, what's wrong about people, then you don't trust people, or you believe that the world is bad, then that's going to be a reality, and that's what people are going to reflect at you. Like, that's what you're going to see. And when you're talking to people, instead of me noticing the good aspect of a person, I would notice the bad thing about them. Oh, they were disrespectful. Oh, they didn't ask me any questions. Or like, oh wow, how good were they expressing themselves, and how interesting they were when they were articulating this kind of point. Wow, how much energy they had when they're talking, instead of like, oh, this person was so bad because they talk so much and they were so energizing. Oh, it's so annoying. Imagine the difference on your behavior towards that person, and also how you are feeling and the energy you're putting out in the world. So yeah, attend to the good things about yourself, about other people, and about the world, and put that energy out in the world, because that's going to influence your thoughts and your behavior, and that's going to influence your habits and principles, and that will determine the fate of your life. So the energy that you have and you bring to this world, you'll get that is in a proportion, in accordance with the energy you deserve from the world. 9. Belonging to yourself is the prerequisite for truly belonging to others. What do I mean by that? Okay, so when you're talking, so you're always in life, you're dancing two dances. You're dancing your own dance, which is your authentic dance, but then there's other people dancing their dance. So you have two options. Either I can change my dance and try to fit in by changing myself to fit in with others and belong to others. And what happens when you do that, you feel lonely and you don't feel like people get you and you're just playing a game to be with other people. That's not going to be good for your life. But it's easier in the moment because it's more difficult, which is the second point, is that to belong to yourself, to be authentic in your interest, in your values, and in what you're doing, because and you can say like, oh, if I don't change my behavior to fit in with a group, then the group will reject me and people will stop hanging out with me. And I would say that's maybe the best gift you can probably have in your life. Because when you're authentic and when you're aligned with your truth, your authenticity and who you are as a human being, it might be hard for some time and you might not have friends for some time, but there are people who will be your friends and willing to be around you because of you, not because of the fake person that you created by belonging to others. So by doing that, by being authentic and belonging to yourself and not abandoning yourself by being true with your values, your interests, then as I said, the people around you will be able to belong to them because you have attracted people who have similar values and interests and life vision and maturity in your life to you. And that's the reward of the difficult process of being authentic and belonging to yourself first. Instead of changing yourself to belong to a group because you're scared to go through the lonely authenticity chapter. But if I can tell you one thing I'm most happy about my life or grateful, it's that taking the road less traveled. I've chosen authenticity over popularity or over fitting in. And that has been a difficult process. I've lost friends, lost my partner, foreign partner. I lost a lot of things in my life. I was criticized a lot and judged a lot. But taking that path was the only way for me. And as a consequence, I've been getting people around me and opportunities and belong to people that get me. And I wouldn't like it to have it otherwise. But to be able to belong to yourself, you have to figure out what really are your values and what you are interested in, and to be able to stand firm with that person. That's going to be hard for some period of time, but I promise you, if you belong to yourself first and you're authentic to your first, you will find your people, group of people. But if you will betray yourself just to belong with other people, your life won't be good and you will stay at the same spot or even worse than if you had the courage to go through the lonely chapter, belong to yourself, because it's the true foundation of belonging to others. And Brené Brown researcher talks a lot about this, and you should look her up to learn more about that. The last one, you don't find your passion, it finds you. And when it does, turn it into your unique gifts and relentlessly give it to the world. You always hear it of people recommending find your passion and do what you're passionate about. But I think that's a wrong message. I think the message should be act out in the world, increase your skill and competence, and something on the way will grab you and you'll be compassionate about it. I'll tell you this story. So when I was pursuing soccer, that was my passion. But I studied psychology on the side, so I did my bachelor's in psychology on the side. It wasn't until my second year into my master's, so fifth year of studying psychology, that I became passionate about it. Something in psychology of finding out what makes this life worth living and teaching that to others just completely got me. But it took me 5 years, and the reason for it took me 5 years was that I got passionate about psychology when I increased my competence. I realized that I wasn't done, and I realized I could improve my grades. I realized I was better in taking tests. I was better at communicating what I was learning about psychology on the way, and that made me passionate about it. But I couldn't have known that I was becoming passionate in psychology without doing it, in a sense. So you don't control the things you are interested in some sense. That controls you, in a sense. So, when you're reading a book, for example, it's just that as boring. It's really hard to force yourself to be interested in it. But then you read a book and you're super interested in it, just has you, and you can put it down. Did you choose the book or did the book choose you? So my advice here is to don't wait for your passion to emerge. Act out in the world. Have a minimal plan, follow a minimal vision. And on the way, something will because of your increased expertise, competence, skills, mastery, and the purpose you have of it, it will grab you and you'll become passionate. But the only way to become passionate is not knowing it before, but going in, acting, and something will give you passion, maybe sometimes when you least expect it. And when it does, turn it into your unique gift and relentlessly give it to the world. As in, I think a life worth living is doing what you're passionate about, what you're good at, what the world needs, and what you can get income from. And if you have that, some people call it ikigai, other people call it something else. But if you have a unique gift and you've discovered that through the passion, through the skills and your unique strength, you should spend, you're morally obligated of using these strengths and skills to contribute to something beyond yourself. Firstly, you're not just going to have more purpose in your life and be more passionate in life will be worthwhile, but also that will be the thing that's going to give you the most economic security in the long term. And if you have the intention of, I'm going to add value beyond myself based on my unique gifts, that's going to give you a lot of purpose in your life, a lot of meaning, and that in turn will give you a lot of income and money if the focus is on the purpose but not on the income part. But if you are not using your unique gift and not relentlessly giving it to the world, you're doing something that you're not good at and not passionate about. And then, we will only think about money, which is fair in some cases, but it's not going to make your life meaningful. But if you truly find what you're great at, what you're skilled at, and then put all of your energy and effort to bring that to the world, your life will be meaningful because you're morally obligated to taking what you're good at to make this world a better place. And that will make your life, will make you a force for good, man, a net force for good. It will make you resilient, it will make you able to overcome obstacles, it will make you be a light in somebody else's life. So I would definitely do that. These were the 10 things. I hope some of them made sense and made you think a little bit about your own life. And I'll probably do another YouTube video on this or in a podcast one day or whatever. But yeah, these are some of the things I live by, some of the things I have truly impacted my life philosophy and how I embody that life philosophy. But I just thank you for listening. I appreciate you. Give me feedback if I can do something better. And I hope you continue to be a light in this world.